Heyo, Eli here, back for a CD collection video. Just like always, I'll be showing 10 CDs out of my collection, all poorly alphabetized. This is a good one, though. There are some classics in here. There's some all-time classics. Of course, that depends on what you would personally consider a classic. But I have some here that I would just about any metalhead would consider a classic, and I sure as shit do. By the way, what we're listening to in the background, we have the debut full-length from Peru's Black Angel, From the Darkness. This came out on Oniric Records, label out of Spain. So yeah, I have these in my distro. Oniric does a really good job with their shit. Nice tape, really nice J-card. There you go. I think it's, I don't know, it's probably I think it's $5 or $6. But anyways, Black Angel are a great band. They've been kicking around, in the underground for probably about 20 years at this point. So yeah, like I said, that's their debut full length. They got a shitload of demos. I actually have if you wanted that, or if you wanted some other Black Angel shit, I have like a demo compilation that sold really well in my distro as well. But if you were gonna pick one of the two, I would definitely go with this. It's a nicer tape. It sounds better, looks better. But, if you're a fanatic, you'll probably want to get both. So got them in my distro. I also still have copies of the Defecrator Goat Penis split. I'm down to just a few because I have sold most of, I only had a small handful. So yeah, check that out if you want. Split 7-inch, put out last year on Nuclear War Now Records. Great split. I had wanted that split really bad just for myself, but it's even cooler to be able to have them in my distro. Kind of proud of it too. It's the first release that I personally got for my distro. Everything else that I have, was all just one giant lot that I bought. But yeah, this is the first step to me actually, hand selecting shit. And but anyways, we're going on like a few minutes here of not a lot of progress. We'll get to the music. We have quite a few bands here for the 10 CDs that I'm showing, but a couple of my all-timers. If you watched the last CD collection video, we left off with Dio, so we are going to finish not the Dio discography necessarily, but what I have. I'm missing a couple albums. I wouldn't mind being a completist. In this case, I've been a huge Dio fan for quite a long time now, and I absolutely love the guy. I don't think that he was, I'm not one of the fans that thinks that like everything he touched was gold, because I definitely don't think that. He definitely had his flaws, just like anyone else, but still, a lot of his albums, they have a very special place in my heart. So anyways, we have Master of the Moon. This came out on Sanctuary in 2004. I think this is a pretty good album, actually. I think this is better than what came after it, and even better than some of what came before it. Overall for Dio, this is kind of a middle of the road album. It's not one of his best, but it's not one of his worst. But I do like playing it from time to time. Really cool cover art, as you just saw. I do think it's way better than this album, which was the last full-length he would release, Killing the Dragon. Cool name, cool, cover art, cool layout, but not a very good album. That's just my opinion. This came out on Spitfire in 2002. Holy shit, I thought this came out after Master of the Moon, so I apologize. But either way, Master of the Moon is a far better album than this. Out of his entire, discography, I think this is one of his weaker, probably bottom 3 releases. It's just not very good. I mean, it's not straying from his, his formula that he's known for. It's not experimental or anything. It's definitely in the, traditional heavy metal camp, but it's just not very good. I hate to say that. And next we have death metal from Austria. This is sadly the only album I have from this band, because it's not their best album, but it's still, in my opinion, worth owning. We have Disastrous Murmur with And Hungry Are the Lost. These guys are definitely known for their debut full length, and as well they should be. It's a good album, but I just don't have it. This came out on Perverted Taste. Did I show the back? I don't know. So anyways, like I said, they are death metal from Austria. One of the more noteworthy bands, you know, from Austria, just in general. They had a really good first album. I haven't heard anything other than that and this, and I just know that their debut kicks the shit out of this album. This album is a little bit more melodic. Yeah, you know, the first album is just kind of, you know, caveman head-bashing death metal, and this one, you know, still has a lot of those trademarks, but it's a little more melodic, a little more like maybe Heartwork influences thrown in here. And I just don't, it's not that it doesn't work, I just don't like it as much, you know, compared to the debut. So I don't know how you guys feel. I've never seen anyone talk about this album, but it'd be kind of cool. Maybe, I mean, there's always that album that I think isn't very good, and then there turns out to be, you know, a bunch of fans of it. So I don't know. Let's see if we can find the fans of this album. They got to be out there, because maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe someone's going to tell me I need to listen to it more. I think I've only listened to it like twice since I've owned it, so I wouldn't mind, you know, finding a reason to spin it a little bit more. But like I said, it's always cool to find, you know, to talk about certain albums and, you know, see the people that are really passionate about them. And you know, not albums that everyone loves. You know, everyone loves, you know, De Mystery from you know, fucking Mayhem. Everyone loves, you know, Rain and Blood from Slayer. Everyone loves, I was going to say the first Burzum album. That's not necessarily true. I know people that don't like that. You know what I mean? There's certain albums that just have, you know, almost everyone fucking just loves. And it's cool to see people that are really passionate about, you know, albums that are less popular. Anyways, next. This is definitely a big album. This album is a game changer. It's an all-time classic. I have a hard time seeing any band releasing something like this in the future that will be this good, that will stand the test of time like this. It's a timeless album. I could talk about it, you know, all day, but I'm going to try not to. We have the debut and only album that they would ever do. Band we're talking about is Disembowelment. This is it's a digipack, sadly, but it's, you know, it's pretty old and it's still kind of in one piece, but it is getting kind of frail. Came out, of course, on Relapse Records. That's the label that they were signed to. And what's cool about this, it's a 2-disc. This is their entire discography. It's got their, you know, it's got their full length, and then it's got all their demos and EPs on the other CD. Very cool. Very cool to have. It's like if you're gonna buy this album, you might as well get this version. It's got lots of liner notes. It's not a real thick booklet. It's only a couple pages, but it's got some nice liner notes and photos. But like I said, this would be other than it being a digipack, which I know already is a speed bump for a lot of people. But they only had the one album, so I feel like if you're gonna go out and buy it, you might as well get this version, just because then you'll have everything they ever did. It's amazing. If you don't know Disembowelment, you really should. They're a doom death band out of Australia. Very, very unique in the doom death genre. There's really, at least when it came out, there's really nothing that sounded quite like it. And there aren't even, there's not many bands, if any, that I can even think of right now that have really even tried to copy this style. And they were just so unique. So very atmospheric. Doom death would be obviously very slow, but they would be known to have like very fast passages, which I thought was cool because it kind of made it a little more interesting to and a little bit more accessible to listen to. You know, some doom death bands are just going to be like slow the whole way through, and it can be a very punishing listen for kind of lack of variation. Not that I mind that, but I just like the tempo changes these guys would do. You know, going from the snail pace to like almost like bursts of grindcore. Like I said, that was kind of their trademark, and yeah, they would never do anything after this, which was kind of cool that this is in there. for we will not pass this way again. They did, however, I think two or three of the members went on to do, like 5 years ago, they started a band. I think the band's called Dusk. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what it was called. Pretty decent stuff, but just it's no Disembowelment. Anyways, I've spent enough time on that release, but honestly, and that album deserves a better deserves a better review or a better rundown of what I just did for it. But that's the best I could do. I don't script my videos or anything like that, so nor will I ever. Yeah. So, anyways, next we have the 2019 release, I think, from Disembowelment. So we got the Decaying Light. This came out on Unique Leader Records, and I don't have a lot of stuff in this vein, whether you want to call it brutal death metal or deathcore. I don't really consider them deathcore. I don't know if maybe some of their older stuff is more in the deathcore vein. Definitely sounds like brutal death metal to me, and it's good. I think I've listened to it 3 or 4 times since last year, and it's pretty good. I still don't know if I'm completely sold on this band. Some people, this was like their album of the year last year, and which I think is really cool. I just think that it's not my cup of tea enough for me to love it as much as some other people. But I do like it. I'm even having listened to it like 4 times, I'm still absorbing it. I'm still considering getting their, their older releases. Cool cover art, by the way. Do you see that? It's pretty badass. But yeah, anyways, Disembowelment, I believe they are from Australia or New Zealand, one of the two. I think Australia, but I could be wrong. I often am. And yeah. Next we have, I think these guys are from Norway. I think we have Python Zero from Disembowelment. Not a look at that fucking cover art, man. Came out on Nuclear Blast back in, I don't remember, late 90s maybe. I can't see it. It's got this sticker that I never took off. Disembowelment are a weird experimental type band. They started off playing pretty straightforward melodic black metal in the early to mid 90s. They would go on to do more of like a progressive gothic metal. I don't know what you would call it, and that's what you're getting on this one. It does kind of remind me of what's that In the Woods album, Strange in Stereo, I think it was called. It does kind of remind me of that album. So if you don't like Strange in Stereo, this probably wouldn't be for you. If you don't like experimental music in general, this definitely wouldn't be for you, because it's very weird. I haven't heard a lot of their black metal stuff, to be honest, and none of it really caught me anyways. I don't even know why I have this. I bought it years ago. But I do listen to it from time to time, I guess, when I want to hear something weird. And it's definitely weird, and it's weird. And I definitely give it credit for at least being, it's definitely an ambitious effort. This isn't a lazy album. Just this isn't like a paint by numbers metal album. It's you can tell a lot of work went into it. It's not going to be for everybody. I don't listen to a lot of weird experimental type stuff, but it's kind of a cool album. It's one of those albums, like, sometimes I'll listen to it and I'll think it's brilliant. Other times I'll put it on and I think it's garbage. So it's probably a little bit too heady for me. But what do you guys think? Anyways, moving on to one of the biggest death metal bands out of Sweden ever, and rightfully so. The rest of these are going to be Dismember albums. This one's going to be complete demos. Came out some years back on Candlelight, 2005. This has all their demos. It's got their Dismembered, Last Blasphemies, and Reborn in Blasphemy. So it's got their 3 demos that they put out before they did any full lengths. Very cool. Candlelight did a nice job on this. They even show what the covers looked like for the original cassettes. And yeah, it's definitely a must-have if you're a Dismember fan. Their demos, they sound decent, but they're definitely old school, early 90s, even late 80s, I think, on one of them. They're old school tape demos, just like they were, meant to sound back then. Especially with that kind of death metal, really becoming popular nowadays, I think a lot of the younger fans would probably eat that up if they've never heard it. So go track that down. I can't imagine it being very hard to find, and it's probably not. It's probably pretty cheap. Probably get it on Discogs or maybe even off Candlelight. Next we have kind of a compilation, I guess you could call it, Indecent and Obscene with Pieces. Indecent and Obscene is their second full length, and Pieces is an EP that came out right before it. So it's kind of cool to have both on one disc. Though I usually prefer to have everything on separate discs. But yeah, that's the Indecent and Obscene cover art. Always love that cover art, by the way. And how cool is that? This came out on Nuclear Blast. I don't know what year they put this out, but it's a digipack. Oh yeah, this came out in 2000. So it's a 20-year-old digipack, and it's hasn't quite disintegrated yet, so that's cool. It will eventually, but yeah, there you are. As I've said before, you just didn't see a ton of digipacks back in 2000. No booklet, so that kind of sucks. You don't get any liner notes or just no booklet in general. I'm not a fan of releases without booklets. Got a couple more. Hang in there with me. I'm getting tired. We have Dismember with their album Death Metal from 2005. Yes, they have an album called Death Metal. Kind of a weird title, but whatever. Who gives a fuck? It's another, it's another decent Dismember album. It's not their best. Honestly, this might be one of their weaker albums, but I personally don't think Dismember did anything bad. Massive Killing Capacity, don't worry, I'm not going to say it's a bad album. I actually like it, but some don't. So I mean, a lot of people would consider that to be one of their weaker albums. I don't know. I would put this, like I said, I don't think Dismember have any weak albums. I would put this somewhere in the middle. I probably like it a little bit more than some stuff that came after it, but it's definitely not as good as their first two albums. But it's a good album. I like it. I listen to it a lot, actually. We got one more. I think this album is also pretty good. Maybe not quite as good as Death Metal, but very close. And it came out around the same time. This came out in 2005. No, these didn't both come out in 2005. Maybe they did. I don't know. I know they came out around the same time. Hate Campaign. Like I said, it's a pretty similar album because it came out. I know it didn't come out the same year, but it came out around the same time as Death Metal. So it's like I said, very similar sound. You're getting a pretty stock Dismember album here, which for a lot of people is probably a good thing. Meaning it's not going to be too melodic. It's not going to be very death and rolly type. It's not going to sound like Massive Killing Capacity. I don't know. I think this is. It just has the classic Dismember sound. It has everything that they're known for, but not veering off in one direction or the other too much, which tends to be something people don't like about Dismember. Personally, like I said, I do like all their albums. I like their more melodic stuff. I like their Massive Killing Capacity, more of like a death and roll album. I like that album. I like when they. I think Dismember were a death metal band that were very good at utilizing melody without being considered a melodic death metal band. They're one of the bands that used melody just enough to not be labeled that way, but just brutal Swedish death metal. But when they had that those melodic solos and even melodic riffs, it just sounds so sweet. I don't know. That's the word I can think of to describe it. Just like sweet. Anyways, that's all I got. I thought I had some news, but I don't remember what it was. I think I covered it in the beginning of the video. So anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for stopping by, and we will talk soon. Cheers.